Okie dokie. Bill's currently going pee. He should be back soon. And get the show started. So ready. Of course, he's sending me messages on Facebook right now, so I'm not sure what that's about. Ooh, Fallout. On IBT. What was that about? The dangers of hype.
You know I have to have these little fancy doodads in my ears to know what you're saying, right?
What was that you sent me about Fallout 4? The dangers of...
This is a very, very nice synopsis of the game.
Oh.
It's got all this background about the storyline right up at the top. Well, not right up at the top. The second paragraph is the start of like the setup. It actually says, "Here's the setup." Then below that has information about the game that I just figured this would be a great go-to when we actually wind up talking about it.
Nice. These ads. Okay. All right, so we're ready. Ready to light this candle.
Sure.
Burr. All right, it's over. No more things from Facebook.
All right, I'm actually going to send out an alert right now, though.
Alert.
In a post saying we're about to go live.
I guess I should probably get over there and hit the like button. Well, we are live. We've been live. And I actually just refreshed the stream so that it's shorter video to manage and not quite so annoying. I just logged back onto Facebook so I could like your thing. And said, Facebook just popped up. It says, "Good afternoon, Sean. Thanks for being here. Enjoy Facebook today."
Did you know that Facebook? Actually, we should probably get this for robots. Facebook, and Google both have a new AI thing that they're working on. Actually, so does Toyota. So I lay out I'm the business editor at the. I don't know if you know this. I'm actually the business editor at my newspaper. So which means I lay out the business section every week, and there is an entire page in our business section that is devoted. Well, no, not the whole thing, but the vast majority of the entire page is dedicated to artificial intelligence.
Nice. Sounds like fun.
Yeah, that's kind of like my special sauce that I bring to the table. Oh, look at that, Anthony.
All right, I got a Wired article. I didn't like PopSci last time we drew articles from them, so I pulled one from Wired. Do you want that under robots or impressive? We haven't got an impressive thing. Actually, VR can go in impressive since it's brand new. Virtual reality killing zombies.
Sure. Yeah. No, I think actually let's do that because that's the one I'm excited about. So you got the Facebook and Google thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to talk about anything about Forbes' new list of most influential people?
Who's on it?
Obama's number 3 behind Putin and Merkel. Who's Merkel? I don't know who
Angela Merkel. She's the Prime Minister of Germany. She says she's kind of like Germany kind of like dictates everything that happens in Europe.
Oh wow.
They're in charge of Europe basically.
Huh.
They're the ones who have their shit the most together.
Okay. I'm gonna keep on running this stream through the show until it ends, until we get a winner. Sounds off, but might distract me from time to time. Okay. Did you put the thing up? The thing?
Yeah, I put the thing up.
Like. I like this. It has been liked.
Excellent.
Northwest Nerd Network's post, First the Bad, blah blah blah, the one I did, is performing better than 95% of other posts on that page.
The problem with the Northwest Nerd Network account is that it has like 2 friends.
Well, no,
that's kind of
it's not friends, but there's lots of people following it. You don't have friends because it's an entertainer. It's not.
Is that how it works? I don't even understand how any of that stuff works.
Yeah,
I am so bad at social media. I fail social media.
You and I are individuals. We have friends.
Okay.
Into the Third is an organization, and it has followers.
Oh, okay. How many followers does it have?
I don't know, like 50.
Yeah, we need to up that number rather significantly.
You know, we can pay some money and have Facebook do it for us. Otherwise, it just has to grow organically with lucky posts like mine yesterday.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that. We really should boost a couple posts. Just it'd be worth it to spend like $100 on like as much time and money as we spend on this show already. We should pick out a few posts and just like boost the shit out of them.
Yeah.
A couple of times.
Yeah.
And then and if we do it, let's say 3 times, and we see how it affects our downloads,
mm-hmm.
and then do it like 3 times, then don't do it for several weeks and see 3 weeks out how many listeners we've had and if it's significantly changed from before.
Yep, we should definitely do that.
It'd be interesting. I have all these people that I have to work with that do presentations about leveraging social media. Because that's like kind of my area, just business in general,
right?
And I've definitely heard some people say, paying a few bucks to boost a post can really be worthwhile.
No, I believe it. I haven't been able to convince Katie that I should yet. Okay, got ready to do this?
All the slamming shorties in the house say yeah.
Optimus Prime is ready. Yeah. I'm ready. You're ready. We're ready. And let me check and make sure everything looks right. Everything looks right on the stream. Killer. It is November 7th. It would have sounded much better, remember the 6th of November? If we'd done it yesterday. But
I just don't want to get into doing that every single year when November comes around.
I love it though. Because
First off, Guy Fawkes was a terrorist. Are you aware of that?
I know the story of Guy Fawkes. I know the story of Guy Fawkes. And I know they burn an effigy of him in the streets of London to this day because he is the most hated villain in the history of Britain. I understand. But also, V for Vendetta was awesome, and I know of no reason the gunpowder treason should ever be forgot. Alright, ready? Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. It is 24 minutes. 3, 2.
Haven't you been paying attention? You don't find the Institute. The Institute finds you.
Let's go, boy.
Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to catch up on full episodes at CBS.com.
You are so disappointing on so many levels.
Billy Liar's got his hands in his pockets, staring over at the neighbor's knickers down.
So some cool stuff has been happening. Daniel Craig, what I think this is his last go round as Bond, right? Maybe it's kind of the indication we're getting. That opened this weekend. Spectre, Fallout 4, and Ghost Recon are both coming out in just a few days. There's some new footage for The Force Awakens, and there's still no Luke. And Donald Trump, he's about to host Saturday Night Live here in just a little bit. That should be fun. But apparently nobody cares because all they're talking about is this trailer for some movie that won't be out in how long is that
8 months.
movie? How long?
8 months.
8 months. And there's something going on, something called BlizzCon. All right, we'll get into it, fanboys. Let's do this thing on Into the Third.
1, 2, ready,
Terrible
go.
intro.
I hope you keep a picture of me in your mind.
Welcome back to the End of the Third podcast, your source for news, nonsense, and entertainment in the Great Northwest. It is Saturday, November 7th, 2015. We're a day late. Meant to do this yesterday, but it doesn't matter. No one's paying any attention.
Right, exactly.
No one
The
in
only
the
ones
world.
here because
I was talking to you before the show about how if we're going to be crushed in the ratings, whatever the internet version of Nielsen ratings were, I would prefer it to happen because of something like BlizzCon.
yeah, or some big Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Or something like that. So
Well,
I'm fine with that.
I mean, because not only does Blizzard sell virtual tickets to BlizzCon, so you can stream it in super high, the best quality from their site. You can probably, I imagine, also watch it on YouTube streaming. You can watch it on MLG. You can watch it on Twitch. There's 80,000 people. 80,000 people just right now.
80,000 boring people watching watching other people play video games.
Just because you don't get it doesn't mean it's wrong, bro.
We had a kind of argument.
You're so full
It
of
wasn't as bad as the zombie argument, but it was,
you're so
kind
full of
like
bitterness and vitriol about it.
I watch poker. I enjoy watching poker, and I think that it's and I understand other people think it's super boring, but I think live poker is about 1 billion times more interesting than watching other
That's
people
because
play
you
video
play poker.
I play video
You're a
games
big
too.
fan of poker, but you're not a fan of a video game that lends itself to spectation.
I suspect if Heroes of the Storm was available on console, I'd probably play it. But I guarantee you, like I play Battlefield, but I wouldn't want to watch somebody else play Battlefield.
What if you were able to watch Battlefield from a third-person perspective, seeing everyone doing everything?
I don't give a shit.
Well, see, that's a matter of taste. You don't have to like it or get it.
I enjoy
But
playing softball
80,000
with friends.
people get it.
I enjoy playing softball with friends, but I don't care about watching baseball. The Mets was the Mets, or I don't even remember who won. No, it was
Kansas City, wasn't it? Wasn't it the Royals?
Yeah, the Royals. The Royals just won the World Series. I don't care. I could care less. I think baseball's boring as shit to watch.
That speaks to the nation as a whole, because a long time ago, baseball, the national pastime, is what everyone in the country was waiting for. The World Series, the playoffs, all that stuff. That was a huge. And now it's like it's the third most popular of the major sports in America. No one cares. Very few people anymore, by comparison to the good old days, care about baseball.
Well, I think it's because when you think about how media has changed, back in the day that you're talking about, you got you got to consume your sports either through the newspaper, being there in person, or over the radio.
Right.
And now with high def 80-inch television screens, it's a lot more entertaining to watch something fast paced like football
Yeah.
or basketball
Yeah.
than it is to watch a slow paced game. If you're a numbers, if you're a stats guy, you can still enjoy baseball. But in terms of, the only way I enjoy baseball is if I'm there. If I'm in the stands, then I'll enjoy it to some degree.
Yeah.
I'd still rather be in the stands of a football game or a
Yeah.
basketball game.
Yeah, well, there's energy there. It takes so long to find the energy in a baseball game that by the time I'm there, I'm just bored with it. And obviously that's a question of taste too. But more than that, I think you're right that it's the only way I can tolerate a baseball game on is if I'm doing something else that's taking up most of my attention. Like,
and I will say,
I could be playing
agree.
Heroes of the Storm and have a baseball game on.
Right. And I was going to say, I don't have any interest really in watching video games. Other people play video games. However, that being said, I do love the fact that there are people out there who play video games for a living.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
compete professionally.
Yeah. No, these
At
kids
that
are
level.
making more money right now than I ever will.
Yeah.
And they're very, very good, and they've got sponsors, and they get sponsors the same way kids coming out of high school get sponsors to go snowboard in the Alps for
Yeah, I
thousands and
love the
thousands of
fact
dollars.
that there are countries around this world that are building arenas to house e-games.
Yeah, well, I will tell you what, a little bit of national, if for no other reason than national pride, the America's champion is fairly well crushing it, and it's between us and Europe now. So Korea just got kicked out. China's been out. It's the West has won this year.
Well, yeah, but anybody who cares is still a crazy super nerd, which is fine. You're welcome here too.
Yeah, you absolutely are. The more the merrier. Bring your
Just-
crazy super nerdisms over
Just be
to the nerd
prepared
herd.
that my eyes will roll back in my head, and I'll be unable to really be coherent and pay attention to what Sean's saying during certain segments of the show that are coming up here in a little bit.
A brief aside from the super nerdy stuff we're going to talk about today. Can you tell me what the hell is wrong with CBS? Because it's not just that they're dinosaurs. Now they just straight lie to me.
Wait, okay. Are you talking about the Time Warner CEO?
No, I'm talking about CBS. The
Okay,
most
what did CBS do?
antiquated of the major networks. The ones least willing, the ones that have launched their own $5.99 a month streaming service for nothing but their own content.
Yeah, get a fucking life. You realize that you are a broadcast network that anybody can get for free,
Yeah.
right?
Right. Telling me on their YouTube channel, because I was looking for a way to stream the most recent season of Person of Interest, season 4. Because
What the hell is Person of Interest?
it's a CBS show. It's one of the. I mean, they have reasonably good content most of the time.
Was that
CBS.
that show that you were watching last Saturday when?
Yeah,
when I was,
yeah. It's sort of science fiction. It deals with hard questions of artificial intelligence and the tug of war between security
okay,
and
whatever.
liberty.
I don't care
right?
about
So
your show. Your show is stupid. You watch terrible television.
Shut up, dude.
But
But the point is, I wanted season 4. I wanted to stream
Okay.
season 4. I went to the YouTube channel, just maybe there were hints there, right? And they said you can catch up on full episodes at CBS.com. And so I went over to CBS.com, where there's nothing but clips and behind the scenes stuff. But CBS All Access has promised me full episodes of Person of Interest and many other shows, 7,500 other episodes of things. So I signed up for the free week, the week free trial, to see if they were lying to me, and they were. You cannot get season 4 a person of interest, even if you pay the network that produces it the money they asked you to in the first place.
I'm hoping you immediately
Oh, yes.
deleted your
I
account.
did,
to
absolutely.
make sure that you don't. Yeah.
No, and so I just want to say right now, CBS is awful. You are the worstest. The worstest. Worst.
No, you know what? They're not well, maybe they're pretty bad. I don't know if they're the worstest, but yeah. So I mentioned this, and we probably have this listed later in the show. But the CEO of Time Warner this week came out and said that if you enjoy Gotham or The Arrow or any of the other DC comic related content that they have, then you're gonna have to it's probably not coming to Netflix or Hulu as soon as you become used to it, because basically Bukes, or however you say his name, CEO Jeff Bukes, explained that Time Warner is set on, quote, delivering even more value to customers, especially those who subscribe to the traditional bundle. They're trying to force us to stay in that old paradigm and we've talked about this numerous times on this show, but them holding on to that old paradigm so tightly with their skeletal fingers that they're just gonna lose even more, because it just boggles my mind that they can't wrap their minds around the fact that we can still get it if we're willing to go around.
No, I right this moment I could go and pirate season 4 at no risk to myself or pay any money for it. I'm choosing not to.
It's been going on for several years now, and several smart people who look at HBO. They finally figured it out and said, "All right, we're going to make it available because we realize that we're losing money and we're pissing people off."
Yeah, well, without waxing historic too much, I mean, every time something new comes along, there's a group of people who cling desperately to the old system, and there's a group of people, companies, groups, whoever it is, who see the writing on the wall and take the step forward to embrace this new thing. And there were people who fought tooth and nail, the record industry, to keep music sales physical and keep it, file sharing and all that stuff. And now there's companies like Spotify and RDO and iTunes and that have monetized music, digital streaming music, to the point where the physical record is going away and it's not coming back.
When was the last time anybody ever bought a CD? Or I mean, if you buy a physical thing to play music on, you probably are into LPs, because the only reason to buy that anymore is if you're one of those diehard people who are really into vinyl.
It's collection. It's
the other one that always comes to mind for me is, especially with the autonomous vehicle revolution that's happening, is back in the early 20th century when Ford started mass producing vehicles. There was somebody for like the Times, New York Times, wrote an article that was like, well, this is great and all, but the horse isn't going anywhere. The horse will always be around.
Yes, it will, and we'll bet on them at the track.
It's out on the horses are still here, but they're out on farms and they're not on roads at all, because innovation, technology. You can't, you might be simple-minded, but you're not going to stop the change.
Speaking of idiots,
are you going to say something about me?
No, not this time. Last week we did a list-ish sort of thing, Daily Dot's Monster Match, that a bracket of the best horror films ever made. How far do you think Shaun of the Dead made it? Shaun of the Dead, a dark comedy parody of the zombie movie.
Since I just clicked on the link there, I see that the final battle was between Shaun of the Dead. So I'm assuming Shaun of the Dead beat out The Exorcist.
Yeah, Shaun of the Dead, which is a better horror movie than The Exorcist.
Now, I've actually never actually seen The Exorcist because I'm not actually into the
It's
Exorcist type
scary.
movies. I think they're kind of dumb, but it's mainly just because it's not into. Doesn't like while I love horror movies, it just doesn't fall in my particular horror love niche. Shaun of the Dead actually kind of fits more, and I've actually seen Shaun of the Dead, and I very much like Shaun of the Dead, but it's it's not fucking scary
No.
at all. Is that something playing for you, or is that playing on my end alone?
Yeah, I got it's you. It's
Okay.
you.
So I'll just close that link. But yeah, that kind of fills me with a tiny bit of rage, but
Sticks
not too much.
right in my
because-
craw that it took. Shaun of the Dead beat 28 Days Later, beat Night of the Living Dead, and it beat The Exorcist. And one
I will
other
agree.
one that
I will
can't
agree.
see.
It's scarier than Night of the Living Dead.
But that's just because of the jump factor. They
Well, it's just
do
because
some
Night of the
good
Living
they
Dead
do
was,
some good
like even less scary than Shaun of the Dead.
well they just do some good jump gags in Shaun of the Dead, but it's not truly terrifying. It took Alien, with James Cameron, right? Or Ridley Scott. I'm sorry, Ridley Scott's epic sci-fi horror masterpiece, which beat The Shining and finally killed Shaun of the Dead, and I'm happy with that. I mean, not how
No,
they got
I mean,
there, but I'm happy with.
I'm fine with Alien taking the top spot. I disagree wholeheartedly, but I much it's better than Shaun of the Dead. But I mean, I could list off about 30 movies I've seen that are scarier.
Yeah, whatever.
I mean, they may not hold the classic iconic status, but if you're
We're
looking
not talking
for
about scariest. We're talking about greatest. I think.
all right, but I would argue that in order to be the greatest scary movie, it has to actually be really scary. And
It was really scary, just because you're just.
it was really scary for you when you were 12 and you saw it for the first time.
I didn't see it when I was 12. They wouldn't let me see it when I was 12. I saw it when I was 17, and it was.
I saw it when I was like 11 or 12 at my friend Will Lucas's house, and I don't really like remember all that much of it to be honest, but I remember it being kind of scary.
The biggest parenting mistake my dad ever made was taking my two sisters when they were like 12 and 13, I think, to see Alien in the theater. Thinking, it's just sci-fi, it's just a sci-fi movie. It's not. It is not. It is horror sci-fi, like horror first, then aliens. But 54% to 45% was the final tally. 45% of people who voted on this thought Shaun of the Dead was a better horror movie.
If there's any of you who voted for Shaun of the Dead at any point in this,
except against Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah, except against Night of the Living Dead, I'm fine with that. But any of you who voted for, actually, you know what? Screw it. Just in terms of iconic status, yes, no, it shouldn't have won against that one either. So if you're listening, I would, I believe what you really need to do at this point is punch yourself in the testicles or vagina, whichever you have,
directly in the groin.
Yeah, punch yourself in the groin for at least once for every time that you voted for Shaun of the Dead.
That sounds good. Hey, we got a list.
Yeehaw.
So what do you want to do? What do you want to do? Do you want to do?
I definitely want to do 9 ways to tell if that new show is gonna suck. The 11 shows canceled that were just hitting the groove included the 1990s Flash, which has Luke Skywalker in it, but
as the trickster.
As the trickster. Yeah. And I actually watched that show when I was like about the same time that I saw Alien.
I was in kindergarten when that show was on TV.
Yeah, it was terrible. It was terrible, but I mean, it was. I remember thinking, God, this is like, I want this for like all of my superheroes. I want it, and now I've got that. And I'm so thankful to be alive for this.
Yep, and that's part of the reason too. So it's good for them.
There's a whole reason I wanted to live to see this day happen.
This coming to us from io9.com. Apparently, they come from the future.
What?
That's their tagline. We come from the future.
Oh, right, yeah.
They should sponsor us. So, it's fall TV season, and there's a bunch of new pilots out, and sometimes it's hard to tell, whether or not the new show that you really want to be good or you want to watch it. You are trying to decide how you're going to spend your time, what deserves your attention. There's no real way to know for sure whether or not a show is going to suck, but these are some good hints. Mm-hmm. Number 1, is the second episode way worse than the pilot? It's a big problem.
So is that a good thing if the second episode's better?
No. No,
it's not.
No,
That's
no,
what they're saying?
no. It's a good thing. It's a good thing if the second episode is better than the pilot. If they're on par or a little worse, but if the second episode is way worse than the pilot, they're saying cut bait. The pilot's like a mini.
Yeah, no, I would argue that for sure. And in fact, you've heard me argue on numerous occasions that sometimes it takes 2 seasons to really work out the kinks and get things. The juice is really flowing to make it worthwhile. I can't tell you how many shows I've come into on the second or third season and been like, oh yeah, I remember when I first saw this 2 years ago and it was shitty as fuck. And now I love it. So.
Well, you got to get viewers to get to that point though. So
yeah.
The idea is like a pilot's like a mini movie, right? So if especially or an actual movie if it's a full 2 hours long. And so you get to put a lot of cool stuff out there, amazing set pieces, lots of money, and then you have to come back and do it 20 or 22 more times, fill up all those hours. So by the second and third episode, you can sort of tell whether or not the writers know how to fill up those problems of the week and fill up those all the subsequent hours. Because if they're just making a pilot, you have a whole conflict and resolution all made up and wrapped up in perfect amount of time. To do it for 20 more hours, that's a lot harder to do. So if the second and third episode are terrible,
yeah, and they need to know how to like lay out little MacGuffins and little plot points that you'll be coming back to, not this episode, but maybe later on the season and maybe several seasons down the line. It's got to get some hooks in you that land well. Number 2, was there network meddling? Did the showrunner get fired before any episodes were even filmed? Did they reshuffle the creative team several times in between episode 3 and 4? This isn't always a problem. Sleepy Hollow had a highly publicized creative shakeup before the show aired, and the first season was still mostly superb, but it's often a warning sign. See Terra Nova, Alcatraz, or the V reboot. I did not see any of those.
That one made me sad. I really wanted the V reboot not to be the worst thing on television, and it was not good. It tried really hard, but it was not good.
The one I'm thinking of is Walking Dead, and it didn't happen in the first season, but it happened a couple of seasons.
Yeah, they changed showrunners between 3 and 4, was it?
I think they changed showrunners several times, in fact.
Well, what they do a lot of times is on that show is someone will step up and do a season or a few episodes and then step back. They've been doing a lot of that in between seasons, but it's not like the network's coming in and saying you're done. And
I'll tell you what, whoever they've got in there right now is killing it.
I know. Don't tell me. I can't get it until I go back. I got to use my dad's.
Spoil anything anyway.
I got to go home and use my dad's on demand.
The last few episodes. I know you've seen the very first episode of the season. In fact, you saw that one before me. But not this past week, but the week before. Holy shit, that was a good episode.
Yeah. No. The only thing the internet has spoiled for me is that Maggie's doing something right now. Maggie was doing something. I've managed to avoid all of it.
Well, that's not the thing. Like, there has been a point almost every day where I've woken up and I've thought, oh my god, is that blah blah blah? And I don't want to say anything about it, but there's been a point where, like, a few minutes within waking up almost every day since I saw that episode 2 weeks ago, I've just been like, holy shit, is he? Because I don't know, and I love how they do that thing where they leave you hanging. And then they go to the other group of people for an entire episode. Yeah. So you don't know for like 2-3 weeks sometimes what happened to that person.
Yeah. They did that with Beth. They did that with Beth a lot. Okay. Well done. Number 3. Does the writing staff include a bunch of people whose work you've already enjoyed? So we're no longer living in this era where you don't know anything about the people making your shows or your movies, because there's stuff like IMDb and a million different websites exactly like IO9. That's good. That's humbleness or humility from these guys. I like IO9. It's possible to know a lot about the creative staff behind what you like. So, if, for example, the Tick's Ben Edlund on a show's writing staff, then it's a signal to take it more seriously.
That's a terrible example.
Yeah.
But it also mentions that this person, whoever the writer is, I forgot who the writer is if I ever noticed it. But they say my interest in 12 Monkeys was massively increased when I saw that Natalie Shadez from, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, from Terminator, the Sarah Connor Chronicles was the first season showrunner. I've seen a few episodes of 12 Monkeys, but I saw all of the Sarah Connor Chronicles, and that was a good show.
Yeah.
And damn them for canceling it at the end of season 1.
You know what? There's not to invoke Walking Dead this entire list, but do you know who Bear McCreary is?
The name sounds familiar.
He does the music for Walking Dead.
Oh,
Do you know
okay.
do you know
Yeah,
what his last big project
amazing.
was? You know what the last big project was he did before Walking Dead? Battlestar Galactica reboot. And no, dude, shut up. The music in that, whether you
Was the
liked the
only good
story
part.
or the weirdness or whatever, if you didn't like the story or any of the other stuff, the characters you hate, whatever, the music was the best part of that show. The way
I'd forgotten what the music was like.
it was all drums
I
and
actually
percussion
did, like, a whole
and
season of the Battlestar Galactica reboot.
Like,
and
I
just couldn't get into. I really tried. I know. I swear, people, I tried. I really did. It just was bad.
No, it wasn't.
Bad.
It just did not appeal to you.
Bad.
And you're bad. Your face is bad. You should feel bad.
Number 4. Number 4 is the cast amazing. I think we can all agree that that's kind of essential.
Yeah, well,
I'm not sure if that even really needs to be on this list.
specifically, what they're saying is whether or not there's chemistry between them.
Yes. No, I agree. But I mean, even if there's chemistry between your characters, I mean, there can't be chemistry between your characters unless they're. I mean, I guess they could be good actors in their own right, or good performers in their own right, but not have chemistry together.
Yeah.
And maybe sometimes that takes time to gel, But I don't know. It just seems like such an obvious thing.
I mean, you could say that someone like Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson have a special sort of chemistry together as far as comedic timing and rhythm and things like that. So but Vince Vaughn on his own or Owen Wilson on his own are not nearly as good as they are together into something like Wedding Crashers, right? Right.
Sure.
That pair makes that movie infinitely better because it's the two of them.
Sure, I can agree with that.
Number 5, do the writers seem to be writing the most interesting relationships? What they mean by this is whether or not they're paying attention to the shit we care about. So this is the worst thing. Sometimes it's clear that there's one pairing in a particular show that holds all the most potential, like 2 actors who spark really well off each other, or 2 characters that have a lot of unresolved issues. They're picking on Terra Nova right here because it started off really bad and never got going. Jason Marr and Stephen Lang had a lot of sparks in the pilot, and then they made him have a bunch of scenes with his family, and no one cared about that, and it was really bad, and always felt like we were missing that stuff. Gotham season 1.
And also, here's another thing that I think could kill it: relying heavily on tropes.
Yeah.
When you like, anytime one of your main characters' entire family was murdered, and so they're out on a vendetta to find the guy. Like, I don't ever want to see that storyline.
We call that the Punisher trope.
I think that's a million different. You can't just say it's one guy's trope, one character's trope.
But I like the Punisher.
There's so many examples of killed my wife, killed my son, killed my family, killed my whatever. Who cares? Go kill yourself. Or drink yourself to death. I don't care anymore.
Well, he tried to do that with his Wild Turkey bourbon. Remember?
Was that the Punisher?
Yeah, that was the Punisher. Drank Wild Turkey. Tried to drink himself to
or is
death.
this the what's his name? The last one, the guy from The Mist? Thomas Jane?
Yeah, it was that one. I did not hate that movie as much as everyone else did. But that's an entirely different argument.
Thomas Jane was great.
Yes, he. Oh,
he's pretty good on Hung.
Did I do 5 or 6? You should do 6.
That was 5. 6 is the basic premise. It is the basic premise one that actually supports an ongoing TV show? Or is it a movie premise? Is it a miniseries premise? Is everybody going to be, for example, trapped under a dome for a few dozen episodes, still driving their product placement cars around even though they should have run out of gasoline days ago? Or are we going to keep running through variations on the same scenario, or delaying an inevitable resolution through increasingly baroque twists? More and more television shows are based on books, not just book series, but also standalone books. This is a good thing because books hopefully bring some world building and character depth to the table. But if a book has a beginning, middle, and end, and a TV show needs more of an open-ended kind of something that you get the wheel spinning, that makes sense. And I think it's hilarious that they're calling out the Under the Dome Stephen King.
Yeah, I hate that show.
adaptation.
My dad loves Under the Dome, and I don't know why. Sometimes I can tell why people like a thing that I don't like, but I don't like the characters, I don't like the story, I don't like the town, I don't like anything about that. And the fact that they're still driving around under this dome with their product placement cars, there's holes in the plot.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, when the holes in the plot start getting in the way of you being able to enjoy a show, then it's probably time to call it.
Number 7, are they visibly stalling? This is less of an issue now than it used to be because not every show on TV has 24 episodes per season.
That's a huge. That does make a huge difference.
Yeah, but it's still a big deal on network TV. Are they A-teaming it? Is what I like to think. Nothing but filler episodes. Shows like that. Not like one of my favorite trash ones. You like to dog on it. What was it? Marvel? Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So much filler and BS in that show. Stuff that doesn't matter, that's just filling airtime with pretty people and violence. That it's obviously stalling because they don't know how to get the story limping along to the inevitable conclusion. I still like it, but it's not good, and they're visibly stalling on that show. So,
and this is kind of related to the last one. Whether or not it's a premise that can continue, and if it's not a premise that can really continue, and they try to like buffer it by throwing some stuff in the middle and keeping you from reaching the conclusion that really needs to be reached, then and that can be very it can ruin your enjoyment, I think. Number 8, did they already paint themselves into a corner? First, is there a plot device at the core of the show that doesn't make any sense and will never make any sense, and the show will keep bumping up against that problem like a drunken ferret until it keels over? Thinking of Flash Forward, I don't know if you ever saw that. That was kind of interesting. I actually was fascinated by the concept.
It was
that kind of
badly
drew me
executed.
in, but it tried to have a situation where some people saw visions of the future in which their future selves knew about the visions of the future already. So Joseph Fiennes already saw his clippings of Flash Forward, but other people were apparently asleep or on the toilet when they knew the most important event in human history was going to happen. There's a logical inconsistency based on the crust, and that's an interesting point.
Yeah, that's tough. You get into a lot of that stuff with sort of time travel and visions and supernatural stuff, and logistical problems like being stuck under a dome. And so what's the first thing they did under the dome was figure out a way to get someone out of it, right?
Did they really? I never actually...
It wasn't the first thing, but sometime in the first season, I think, they were already getting people out from under.
A friend of mine let me borrow a copy of the book, and I read the first, 3 chapters and then never opened it again.
Yeah, I mean, and I have nothing...
Not that I have anything against Stephen King. I love
No,
Stephen King.
I have nothing to compare it to as far as Stephen. I love a lot of things Stephen King has done, but he's written like 500 books. Some of them are bound to be terrible, right? And,
But one of the things that occurs to me is these last 3 kind of all go together. And the story that keeps coming up in my mind is Lost, right?
Yeah.
Because Lost almost seems like it should have painted itself into a corner, and it's a premise that you keep thinking, how can this keep, but they kept figuring out a way around it. So I mean, it's not really, it doesn't guarantee. None of these are guarantees, obviously, but.
A lot of TV shows now try and outlast Lost or follow the Lost model of crazy stuff that you can't really explain or that makes no sense at the time, but they're gonna figure it out once they get to the point where it matters, and a lot of them fail because I mean, I gotta figure that the people writing Lost at least knew where they were going, right?
Yeah, well, they must have known. I mean, you have to assume that they knew that it was all based on this sort of mythological stuff from ancient whatever, and went far beyond. Yeah, I mean, so sure. you got to assume that they started with that in mind.
Right. And finally, number 9, is this show actually about anything? Does it have a core idea? Is there some point where the show keeps coming back to what element does the show writer think will keep you coming back? And is it a dumb mystery or something that is actually compelling? That's not saying that a successful or watchable TV show needs to have a strict thesis or a kind of overarching theme with a capital T, but it needs a storytelling engine, something that you can hold on to and follow from one episode to the next. And I don't, you don't see a lot of shows that start out now without thinking a little bit down the road, right? Like that. This is something that doesn't really happen anymore.
Well, there needs to be some plot line that is building towards ultimately a climax. Because ultimately all stories have that first have three acts and a climax, and without that, it's not a story.
Right.
So that's kind of what I think they're saying here, is that you actually need to follow up. There needs to be a storyline, and that seems pretty obvious.
Yep. Well, that was a deep, interesting, engaging list that made us think about the world we live in.
More made us think about the stupid television that we consume.
True that. You know what it's time for?
Oh, you're gonna let me talk here about some news stuff?
Yeah.
You can talk about it.
Why so serious?
New security enhancements. Air quotes there. Sean can see me do that. There's nobody else. There's nobody else here joining us tonight, so he's the only one who can see me. They're going into place just in time into our airports, just in time for the holiday season. It's the most recent development in the crash of the Russian airliner that went down earlier this week over Egypt's Sinai Peninsula and killed 224 people. While they still haven't confirmed that it was actually a bomb or a missile, an initial assessment did conclude that it wasn't. You correct my spelling. Thank you. It's not distracting at all. An initial assessment did conclude that it wasn't any sort of equipment malfunction. An ISIS affiliate in Egypt that day took credit for the crash, but their claims were dismissed because they weren't believed to have had access to the kinds of surface-to-air missiles needed to reach the altitude where the plane was flying. But evidence seems to be mounting that a bomb was likely smuggled on board, possibly in retaliation for Russia's recent joining of the coalition against ISIS in Syria. So Russia has since suspended all flights to Egypt, and the U.S. has said that there will be an unspecified security measure, or that unspecified security measures will be taken into account in flights coming in from the Middle East for the foreseeable future. We don't actually know what that means. Also, this week, the details on I've mentioned this, and the only reason I'm going to bring this up because I've mentioned this before, the 12 nation, I think it's 12 nation, maybe it's 13 nation, I don't remember how many nations it is. Anyway, the Pacific Trade Agreement, the details on it were all just released this week. Apparently, it's about like 3 Bibles in length. Yeah, so it's really long. Jeez. And I wrote just the other day, it encompasses everything from how to handle trade deals on things like iodine dust to everything from iodine dust to eels, like just like every conceivable thing that might need to be traded between all these countries.
Are they talking about electric eels?
I don't know. I mean, but that kind of eel, yes. So anyway, there's still lots of people going through that much information. It's going to take a while to really figure that out. But that just happened this week, and we'll see where that goes. After 7 years of review, President Obama has rejected the proposed Keystone pipeline that would pump crude oil from the Canadian oil sands down to the Gulf Coast. His reasoning, giving the green light on such a project, would hurt the U.S.'s and the administration's stance on climate change. He said, America is a global leader on climate change, and approving a nearly 1,200-mile-long pipeline, which would carry about 800,000 barrels of crude oil a day, would undercut the country's leadership in the fight against climate change. The decision comes at the heels of a State Department conclusion along the same lines, and just a few weeks prior to a United Nations summit on the topic in Paris, where the president hopes to establish a new worldwide commitment to battling climate change. How do you feel about that?
I have a small question.
Sure.
climate change is an important issue.
Sure.
Is it more important than reducing our dependence on foreign oil?
Well, one of the other reasons, there were a couple reasons, but essentially the main one was he wanted to. It's really more about the appearance.
That's what I'm getting at.
Right.
Is the appearance of being a global force for positive effect on the climate change more important than reducing our dependence on foreign oil?
Well, one of the things that he brought up was the fact that compared to last year, we're like $1. Our gas is like $1 less compared to 2 years ago. Our gas is like $1.50 less compared to, you see what I'm saying? Like all right, so you know what fracking is, right?
Yeah.
Fracking has opened up an entire new world of being able to pull oil out of the ground that we thought was already tapped out.
Right.
So that's actually the main reason why our oil costs have gone down so much. And so, I mean, that's part of it. But I think he does have a point that, if he's about to go to Paris and try to rally folks from around the world and get them to sign something that says we dedicate and we're dedicating ourselves to an actual commitment. We're making a commitment to reduce our dependence on fossil fuels. If he just signed something that said, okay, sure, let's build this giant oil pipeline, it'd be hard. It'd be really hard to.
Well, that leads me to the second part of the question, though, is how much damage to the environment are we going to do with the pipeline? Like, because right now we're moving oil around on trucks and with trains and using fossil fuels to transport fossil fuels when a pipeline seems like it would be a more efficient method to transport the fuel. So are we doing more long-term damage by not building the pipeline?
And I don't know. I mean, I'm sure all of that stuff is probably included in the State Department's analysis. I know one of the things that stuck out in my mind was that it's not going to create nearly as many jobs as the Republicans would like you to believe. So it won't be as good for the economy as they might like you to believe. I see your question and where you're coming from, but I think in terms of trying to create a worldwide commitment to it, I think there's some validity there as well. If you really want to get people to start thinking in terms of turning towards other methods of energy creation, you can't just keep laying the foundation with infrastructure to keep relying on what you had before. That seems to be the crux of his rejection.
No, I buy that half of it. It would be nice to see that coupled with a little bit more exploration into alternative energy, and solar and hydro and the other ways to generate the electricity and the energy that we're going to need to move our asses around our giant ass country.
Right.
Well, seems like that appearance should be coupled with another sort of a statement that says we're not just going to say don't do this, we're also going to say this is how we should be doing it in the future.
Well, it's funny that you bring that up. That actually reminds me that there's been a push by, I know it's a federal agency, and I don't remember which one exactly, but they're dedicating a couple $1 billion, I think, toward creation of smaller nuclear facilities. And actually, Pacific Northwest Laboratories, I think, was just tapped as one of the agencies to kind of head this project. But they're basically, I read somebody who was talking about this, and they were kind of comparing it to like nuclear submarines. Right. So nuclear energy has been around forever, and it's not considered typically to be the safest or most whatever form of energy. But if you look at, for instance, nuclear submarines, they've been got a bunch of people trapped inside a little metal tube with this nuclear reactor right next to them, and they're perfectly fine. So that's one way they are actually trying to create a cleaner and an alternative fuel source.
Right. And it's nuclear Trump, though too. I'm looking for Well, I found the Pacific Northwest National Laboratory website. I was hoping to find specifically what that project was. If you knew more about it.
Small.
Science, internet, I'll forget it. Whatever. Let's
Small nuclear power reactors. Let's see. Modular nuclear power reactors. Nuclear push. DAE to indemnify small suppliers from what? No, that's not what.
Oh well. Forget it. We plugged it. Good
Anyway,
for them.
There is a push to do that, to create an alternative with small nuclear reactors that can generate enough energy to, to power a portion of any given state, probably.
Gotcha.
But it's still, I think, one of the things you have to remember is that we can't rely on any one individual source. It's not going to be just solar. It's not going to be just wind. It's not going to be just nuclear or fossil fuels. It needs to be a combination of all of them. The Pacific Northwest has an interesting combination in that we have, I think, the most hydropower in the country, and we also have a great deal of wind energy. And in fact, they work really well together because when the wind dies down, you can turn on, more turbines over from the hydropower dams, and it winds up working together really well. It does kill a lot of fish, though, apparently.
Seems like we should be building some massive solar farms out in the desert.
Well, and then there's even issues with solar. I agree. There seems to be a lot of space that could be utilized like that. I think we should have like a giant space station in space that has a bunch of solar panels, and there's like a beam that sends all the energy down to Earth. I don't know if that's possible.
That's not that far out there.
It sounds cool.
It does.
I want it just for a basis of a sci-fi TV show.
Oh yeah.
Really I don't really care about saving the planet or anything. I just want a television show based off the idea. Donald Trump, is going to be hosting Saturday Night Live, in what's basically a first for a presidential candidate, at least an actual presidential candidate. Reverend Al Sharpton hosted in 2003, but I'm pretty sure nobody ever really took the Reverend Al Sharpton seriously as a presidential candidate. This isn't Trump's first time as a host, but he did host it once before. Oh wait, I'm supposed to cue you. That was a shitty job of queuing you up, wasn't it?
When I type something in the show notes, that's supposed to be behind the curtain, so that you could say something like, what the last time he sounded like when he hosted Saturday Night Live.
There you go.
Live from New York, it's Saturday night.
I don't think that's anything close to what Donald Trump's going to sound like on Saturday Night Live. He did host once before in 2004 when he was starting The Apprentice. That show was ironically on the same network that dropped him and his Miss Universe pageant after his racist and offensive comments about Mexican criminal and rapists in the U.S. We'll see how all that goes. By the way, Hillary Clinton did make an appearance on the very first show of the season this year, but not as the host.
Is it still? Would it still be considered bad form to just drop him off a really tall building?
Maybe they'll do that. Maybe they'll do that on top. They'll drop him from the top of the 30 Rock.
So they lure him to 30 Rockefeller Center.
That would be brilliant. That would be the highest rated show ever of all time.
Instead of they just take him up to the roof. No, we're doing the show up here tonight, Don.
Like the grand finale, the last
just
skit
suck him off the building.
SNL ever.
We do not condone the murder of billionaire assholes on this show.
Behind Trump in the polls, Ben Carson is getting irritated with the press over questions about his claims in his biography that he got a, quote, full scholarship to West Point. Basically, that's because West Point doesn't give out scholarships. They will help you out with funds and whatnot, but you still got to sign up to serve in the Army for a few years after. So it's a little bit. He was apparently the top ROTC candidate in I think Ohio or wherever it is he's from, or it's Ohio. I think he's from Chicago, Illinois, maybe, I don't remember. Whatever. But you still have to sign up to get this. What's not really a scholarship. They will help you out with some funding and whatnot. Quit changing shit when I'm trying to read. But anyway, he said he didn't want to sign up to serve in the Army anyway because he wanted to go into medicine. And he's saying that the press is just combing through everything in his life and looking to call him out on something. And Clinton told him, stop being a whiny bitch. Because, obviously she's been dealing with that for a while. That she didn't actually say that. The GOP candidates have already been accused enough this week of complaining and whining, following their complaints about gotcha questions during the last debate. After drawing up a list of demands for the next debate that included everything from equal time for questions and opening statements to the temperature of the room, most of them actually decided complaining doesn't look very presidential or very tough, which is an important quality if you want to be the Republican nominee for president.
I gotta wonder too, if you're submitting a list of demands for the privilege of asking you questions in a debate, is really at the top of that list the temperature in the room because you don't want people to see you sweat?
Well, I mean,
maybe you have a glandular issue and should get that checked out if you're sweating at 70 degrees.
There actually is a historical basis for this argument, though.
Really?
If you look back at the debate between John F. Kennedy and Richard Nixon was far ahead in the polls prior to their debate, but he came across as weak and as like he was trying to hide something because he was sweating during the debate. And there is a fairly valid argument that he lost the presidential race to JFK because of that.
Were they in the same room though?
I don't think so. I don't remember exactly how it worked, but I just know that there is an actual basis for this argument.
Well, perhaps they should wear more breathable undergarments.
Maybe
something that wicks moisture away from the body.
Maybe they should just all be asked questions about what their favorite color is.
Yeah, they should go up there and hold those little spritzing bottles with the fan on them that you buy at a county fair for $3. Right?
Yeah.
And they just spray water.
Then the moisture from that collects on your face and you look like you're sweating.
No, but everyone sees the fan in the bottle in your hand, so they can clearly tell you're spritzing yourself.
Also, it's like covering it up, so they see the moisture, but they're like, "Oh, it's okay."
It's okay because he's
spraying
spritzing
it on himself.
Yeah,
it's not sweat. I'm trying to see if there's where the debate. So anyway, that's the end of the news that I have for us this week.
Oh gosh,
I'm going to try to find debate between the two debates. The key turning point of the campaign were the 4 Kennedy-Nixon debates. They were the first presidential debates, and the first also held on television. So they attracted a lot of publicity. Nixon refused makeup for the first debate, and as a result, his beard stubble showed prominently on the era's black and white TV. His face and poor appearance on television is reflected by the fact his mother called him immediately following the debate and to ask if he was sick.
Oh God. So it's his fault though. He should have wore the makeup like a man.
Yeah. So it's often complained that people who often claimed that people who watched the debate on television overwhelmingly believed that Kennedy won, while radio listeners actually believed that Nixon won.
Oh, I did hear that story. I think actually, back when I was in school.
I think that's probably the basis for it. But to be basing your demands for debate on
maybe just
on
wear the makeup and focus on
Nixon,
the important.
Probably not.
He's not a crook. So yeah, what's bringing us entertainment news today?
This is being brought to us by.
Oh wait, not entertainment. This is wrong. I'm trying to skip a whole segment.
You're a daydreamer, a sassmouth, and not infrequently a bit of a gigglepuss.
Brought to us by Stephen Colbert's former appearance on The Venture Brothers, which is sadly no longer with us.
No. Man dies after tapeworm inside him gets cancer.
Yeah, that sucks.
All right, so number one, it sucks to have a tapeworm. It sucks even worse when
you're trying to lose weight. Unless you're trying to fit into a slim outfit.
You know what? I would guess
One-
even then there's probably better options than having a parasite inside of you eating your food before it gets to your belly. Colombian man's leg tumors turned out to have an extremely unusual cause. It was rapidly growing masses weren't actually made of human cells, but that of a tapeworm. This is the first time a report of a person becoming sick from cancer that weren't developed by their own self. Cancer cells developed in a parasite infected this poor man and made tumors in his leg. How the hell does that what sort of luck do you have to get a tapeworm and then have that tapeworm get cancer?
Well, and it should be pointed out that he also had HIV, which weakens the immune
this
system.
is a very
and likely
unlucky
played
man.
a role in allowing the development of the parasitic cancer.
This is a very unlucky man.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's a new kind of disease. They're quoted as saying that we were amazed when we found this new type of disease, tapeworms growing inside a person, essentially getting cancer that spreads to the person, causing tumors. Usually, you don't think of cancer as a communicable disease either. I guess.
No, but all right, listen to this, though. The 41-year-old man first went to doctors in Colombia after experiencing a fever, cough, and weight loss for several months. The man had been diagnosed with HIV more than 10 years earlier, but was not taking his medications. CT scans showed tumors in his lung and lymph nodes, but biopsies of these tumors revealed bizarre cells, leading Colombian doctors to contact CDC for assistance in diagnosing him. The cells were examined under a microscope and acted like cancer cells, but multiplied quickly and crowded together. They didn't appear to be human in nature, and were 10 times smaller than human cancer cells. Eventually, they figured it out that it had to do with. They found DNA from a tapeworm in one of the tumors, and so. Anyway, this guy was clearly probably not
unlucky and not smart either. The researchers hypothesized that because the man had HIV, the tapeworm kept growing unchecked by the immune system, and eventually mutations developed in the tapeworm cells that turned cancerous. Died 72 hours after researchers determined that the tumors were caused by tapeworm's cancer. That's bad.
H. nana is the most common tapeworm in humans, infecting up to 75 million people worldwide at any given time.
Also, this one was sent in by a listener. Did you know that there's a National Hot Dog Council?
No, but thank God there is, because we need somebody to take care of the important questions that face the hot dog industry.
That is quite a picture.
Along the lines of, is a hot dog actually a sandwich?
Yeah, a hot dog is not a sandwich, the National Hot Dog and Sausage Council ruled on Friday after days or perhaps decade of sizzling debate. That's an excellent pun, Newsweek. I lost my place from being overwhelmed by how hilarious it was. Council, an authority on the matter, ruled that hot dogs in fact transcend sandwiches, occupying a higher level. Limiting the hot dog's significance by saying it's just a sandwich is like calling the Dalai Lama just a guy.
That is hilarious.
At least they don't take themselves too seriously, right?
Yeah, comparing a hot dog to the Dalai Lama is just a little bit ridiculous, I think. Tiniest bit ridiculous.
I feel like if this report came out and the National Hot Dog and Sausage Council were being serious with me and looking at me like this is important, rather than at least having the tongue a little bit in cheek with it, this makes me respect them a whole lot more. And I sort of want to figure out how I can become more involved with the National Hot Dog and Sausage Council.
Apparently the National Sandwich Council came out afterwards and said, "Quit being so highfalutin. You think you're better than us? You think you're better than me?"
Well done.
The National Hamburger Council later said,
"Oh, y'all bitches.
Well, you guys all suck." Pizza Council didn't say anything,
nice.
But just sniggered in the corner.
Absolutely. And finally,
you think you're better than me?
Finally, Florida man bites dog. Attack on canine leads to a year-long prison sentence.
Of course, it's from Florida.
Of course, it's from Florida. All the craziest shit comes from Florida.
You read a stupid, crazy story, A Florida man who was convicted of biting a small dog on the face and choking it so hard its eye popped out has been sentenced to a year in prison. I think he
How do you
probably
choke
needs to
that
spend
dog?
longer.
How do you choke that dog?
I know that is a cute dog. I'm not sure that's actually the same dog. I don't know. The cut line doesn't specify.
It does not.
The Palm Beach Post reports that 37-year-old David Etzel was sentenced on being found guilty of felony criminal cruelty. Etzel's mother told deputies that the 6'8", 375-pound man was drunk when he started teasing the Shih Tzu named Cujo. That's a cute name for a little Shih Tzu.
My dad's
which prompted
Schnauzer's
the dog-
named Cujo.
huh?
My dad's mini
What's that?
Schnauzer. My dad's mini Schnauzer's named Cujo.
Oh,
I know.
hopefully you don't ever get drunk and choke your dad's dog.
Right.
So he was drunk. He was teasing the dog, so the dog bit him. Surprise. And then she said that Etzel bit the dog back
On the face. And then
Um,
choked his eyeball out of his head.
Yeah. Judge also ordered anger management and alcohol treatment for the guy. Veterinarians were able to put Cujo's eye back in, but they were unable to fix it, so he's permanently blind in that eye. But
That's
at least
messed
it's
up.
back in. The veterinary told deputies the injuries were comparable to being hit by a vehicle or attacked by another dog.
Well, 6'8" man like that choked the life out of something that's barely the size of a rodent.
Yeah. Well, it's just kind of sad in
Yeah.
several different ways. But it's an interesting point for journalists out there. Anybody who's been through journalism school has probably heard the phrase, if you wind up talking about what actually constitutes news. So news is something that's unique. If it happens all the time, then it's probably not news. So if a dog bites a man, who cares? But if a man bites a dog, now that's news.
True dat.
This next segment is brought to you by Sean's unhappy tummy, Pepsid AC. He's been curing his heartburn since 2015, although I've been trying to convince him that Nexium is way better.
Nexium's a step up on the monetary scale. So I can't afford Nexium if I don't need it. Right now, Pepsid's doing the job, one a day.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
You'll get there eventually, don't.
Do you care at all about a new Star Trek TV show?
I have this to say. I didn't care about the last 3 or 4 Star Trek shows, so I probably won't care about this new one. But I have been enjoying the movies, so.
Do you need in case you needed another reason to hate the shit out of CBS? Here I go again, everybody. I hate CBS for this reason now as well. They're not sending it to. All right. I'll start from the beginning. CBS has owned the rights to Star Trek TV since the 60s. It's only logical it would eventually come to this, that a rejuvenation of the Star Trek on the big screen eventually had to lead to the same thing on the franchise's native medium. That's TV. So after months of rumors and speculation, it's finally happening. Star Trek's coming back to TV. Hooray! Hooray, everybody! Star Trek is coming back to CBS All Access, online streaming exclusive. You can't get it anywhere else unless you pay $5.99 a month to CBS.
Who cares?
I don't
Auto
care.
just-
I do not care enough to. You know what? I might just pirate this, just to spite them, just to spite
Yeah,
the
I'm gonna start
dinosaurs of
pirating
CBS.
CBS shows. I'm not gonna watch them.
Absolutely, just pirate everything that you can possibly
Everybody
find that's
listening,
produced by
we would like to
CBS.
encourage you to not watch CBS, just pirate the show, just to piss them off.
Yeah, don't watch any of the pirated content and don't redistribute
Terrible.
it. Just
It's all
download
terrible.
it. Yeah. So what's the series going to be about? The official press release said, brand new Star Trek will introduce new characters seeking imaginative new worlds and new civilizations while exploring the dramatic contemporary themes that have been a signature of the franchise since 1966. They added, new television series is not related to the upcoming feature film Star Trek Beyond, which is scheduled to be distributed by Paramount Pictures summer of next year. Thank God for that. At least our movies and our TV are not going to.
Yeah, at least they won't ruin our movie.
yeah.
The movies. with the TV
CBS
show.
can't ruin the movies. Only the TV
That's
shows.
important. We can just skip this one because we already pretty much talked about this.
Yeah, DC.
Time Warner,
Yeah.
Time Warner.
Time Warner, DC. It's too bad, really, that I don't. You know what? I don't mind that Disney owns Marvel because they're a progressive company. They're embracing this new world. Time Warner is not a progressive company.
Time Warner actually, they actually bring internet to many people's houses, and yet they still want them to be signed up for cable. They will not accept them, moving into the brave new world of internet only device stuff.
Yeah, like I'm happy to pay.
Doesn't make any sense.
I would be happy to pay a couple of bucks a month, like to composite build my TV consumption by paying a couple of bucks to the networks that I want stuff from. I would pay a couple of bucks to CBS a month to get all their primetime content on demand and football.
I would
$5 a month,
very
absolutely.
much like for Google to start streaming, giving me internet balloons so that I can get rid of Time Warner.
Google Fiber, it's coming, dude. Not to you ever soon, but to me someday maybe Google Fiber will be here. Finally, Jon Stewart's coming back to TV, HBO this time. Who would you think that Jon Stewart would follow in John Oliver's footsteps?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, John Oliver is kind of leading the way in the amusing yet very important news. We were talking before the show, and I was saying the Daily Show is not real news. The John Oliver isn't real news.
Their commentary. Their parody and commentary.
I still feel like what John Oliver is doing is really important. He covers some real news that, and he explains it in a way that it's amusing and entertaining, but it's still important. And
yeah. Well, it looks like we've got a late entry into the presidential race after all, says Washington Post. Comedian Jon Stewart isn't technically running for office, but the former Daily Show host is poised to resume his quadrennial campaign to be his satirizer-in-chief. He's the satirizer-in-chief. Like cute, like Commander, except satirizer.
No,
okay.
Thanks. I appreciate you explaining it.
You betcha. Signed a deal with HBO. His reemergence, because did you know he's been working on an animal rescue farm?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I didn't know what he's been doing. He's goofy looking though. Could you imagine his silly little face?
I've seen him snuggling with multiple puppies.
Oh, cute.
Not puppies, but like dogs. I'm pretty sure it was multiple dogs out on his farm.
Well, his new role at HBO will be different than his post at Comedy Central. Instead of hosting a nightly half hour, he'll produce short online videos that apparently will go straight to the internet. There's not a whole lot out yet as to how you'll be able to consume them. I imagine they'll go to YouTube or HBO's other properties. What else does HBO own?
What do you mean? Like what are the shows?
No. Like different venues for them to. I mean, because they've got HBO on the TV. They've got HBO Go, HBO Now. They can put stuff on YouTube. How else could they distribute Jon Stewart?
I can't think of any other way, sir.
You're useless to me. How likely do you think it is that he's going to influence the election, as they're saying here?
I think he has a slew of diehard fans out there who will not be influenced whatsoever by his commentary because they already agreed with what he's going to say. But who knows? Maybe he's going to come out and be like, "Oh, Bernie Sanders is the way we should all be going. Stop backing Hillary Clinton." Who knows?
Maybe.
But he's probably smart enough to realize that Hillary Clinton's the only viable candidate for the Democrats, so that's who he's going to put his weight behind. I would guess, but I don't know.
I wish it were.
We'll have to wait and find out.
I don't like anybody in this election except the one guy who said in the Republican debate that he's against anything that's bad for his mother. I like him. That's Rubio, isn't it? Do I like Rubio? I don't remember.
Yeah, he's almost likable.
Well, you know what it's time for now.
What's that?
It's time for Top 5. You ready for
we
this?
actually, Chloe and I have been talking. We might actually go see Spectre tonight.
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
Well, I got bad news for you.
It's not in the top 5.
It's not in the top 5 because this is still last weekend because this weekend ain't over yet.
It's a good point.
Yeah. So last week, still at
Also,
number
not
1.
much that has changed on
No.
this list.
Still at number 1 in its 5th week. 5th week on the chart and it's back at number 1. I think something kicked it off of it. It's made 183 million so far, 11.7 this weekend. The Martian. It's awesome. Go see The Martian.
Yeah, we've ad nauseum on this movie.
Number
93,
2.
93.
Number 2. 9.8 million. 56.7. Goosebumps.
Jack Black, based loosely on the old series. Who cares? If you're a child, if you were a child or you have a child who's, I don't know, 9 to 13, maybe you care.
Yeah. Number 3 in its 3rd week on the chart. This is what we talked about last week. The movies that most deserve money are not getting it because no one cares to go see them in the theater.
How much has it made so far?
It's made 45.5.
And do we know how much it cost to make?
It cost $40 million to make this movie.
Oh, well, good. They
At least they've made their money back.
That's all I care about.
Yeah,
That's all I care about.
and when it goes to Netflix and Redbox and all those other things.
Bridge of Spies, Tom Hanks, 92 and 90% critics of the movie.
Got crushed by this movie in its 6th week on the chart. It made 5.8 million for a total of 156 million. Hotel Transylvania 2, starring Adam Sandler.
It's funny that Adam Sandler's name is not at the top of the list here. Oh, it is there. That's weird. Mel Brooks and Selena Gomez are the only 2 names you see on the top of the list. But 51 and 71% if you give crap.
Well,
which we don't.
For what it was, Hotel Transylvania, I watched it on Halloween. I was forced to. Don't look at me like that. Was not
daughter
bad.
Isn't even old enough to justify you
no,
guys having
but
to watch
it was a cute movie. It's not the worst thing ever. It's not the worst thing Adam Sandler's
sure,
ever
it's
done.
Not, but that's not what I want to watch on Halloween.
Well, no, but then all the ladies went to bed and I watched something scary by myself.
What'd you watch scary? You don't watch scary.
Event Horizon.
Okay, Event Horizon's not a scary movie.
Is scary. Finally, in its 2nd week on the chart, it made 5.1 for a grand total of $19 million. The Last Witch Hunter. That's that Vin Diesel joint, yeah.
Vin Diesel, Elijah Wood.
Elijah.
Elysium.
I don't mean to, Mr. Frodo.
Elijah Fields. Beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's going to be a lot more fun next week? Top 5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 16% and 49%, by the way, critics and users. Wait, what's happening next week other than...
We'll get to talk about Spectre. We'll get there's isn't there another big movie that landed this weekend?
I just closed it. Hold on, let me open it back up and see... Peanuts movie.
It'll be interesting to see what people think of the Peanuts movie. And I already, you know what's going to happen with Spectre? Critics are going to like it a lot less than we are.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's already got 62 and 71%.
That's about. I was going to say 60 to 80.
Mm-hmm. So we'll see. I think from what I've seen so far, the clips and stuff, it looks gorgeous.
It does, and
that goes a long way for me.
That car though,
like the last one, I didn't think it was
an
amazing movie, but it was gorgeous.
That new car though, that's that new Vanquish, isn't it?
Is that what it is?
The new Aston Martin, the new model of the Vanquish, I think.
Okay.
Oh, it's so pretty. Well, this is
the steering wheel's on the wrong side, so I don't care.
This is in fact the moment we've all been waiting for.
I know, we're about to talk about Fallout.
I used to be an adventurer like you.
Yeah, imagine all those people who saw our post on Facebook yesterday and tuned in, and they're like, they're gonna talk all about BlizzCon.
Talk about news and
all about it. We'll talk about it eventually, but
we will get while. Maybe we should move Game Time up a little bit.
You think so?
I don't know. Maybe split up the. We can. No, I don't know. Whatever. We just tack stuff on as we think about it.
We probably shouldn't talk about it on the show.
Probably not.
Unless people want to let us know how they think our format should be formatted.
If anyone
they-
has any
which
opinions
case-
about our format, please email us at northwesternerdnetwork@gmail.com. Fallout 4, take it
Right after
away.
you fuck yourself. Fallout 4. Okay, it's coming out in what? Okay, Sean just held up his finger, took off his headphones, and left the room. I don't know what that means. You want to explain to me what the hell just happened?
No, I meant go on. Somebody slid a note under the door. I had to make sure there wasn't some sort of an emergency. I meant for you to continue.
Oh, okay. I was like, Sean just held up his finger and left.
We got to work on our
I
communication.
didn't know what was happening. I thought maybe somebody died. Okay, so anyway, Fallout 4. I should have just continued and talked about.
You know what? I'm gonna
you
cut.
obviously don't care.
I'm gonna cut that crap out. Just as soon as we finish recording. That
Okay,
whole gap is gonna disappear. No one will even know it's there.
Okay, so it is the 7th of November, and for some fucking annoying reason, Bethesda decided to release Fallout 4 on a Tuesday. So that's gonna be unpleasant, having to wait several days before my week is over to actually play it, and then you'll never see me again because all I'm gonna do is play. I'm gonna quit my job, quit doing this show, and all I'm gonna do is play Fallout 4 for the next 6 months.
That makes sense.
I hope you guys are okay with that. But yeah, so it's just to set it up. 2077, humanity heavily reliant on nuclear energy. The world stands on the brink of war, and somebody detonates some atomic bombs. You and your family are evacuated. This is from a review from IBT, by the way. I don't know what IBT is.
International Business Times.
Huh?
International Business Times is writing a review of Fallout 4.
Oh, awesome. Maybe never mind. You and your family are evacuated to a nearby Vault 111 run by the seemingly benevolent Vault Tech to wait out the bomb's effects. Instead, everybody is cryogenically frozen for more than 200 years. Then somebody defrosts you, kills your partner, and kidnaps your son. You must venture out into the world to find him and fix the broken mess around you as you go. If you haven't seen the trailer for it and you don't know what it is, then you suck. But it looks gorgeous. Apparently, looking at it, the VATS system. Do you remember the VATS system?
Yeah.
Targeting system. Apparently, that's going to be part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I was when I first saw that, I was a little bit disturbed by that idea because I feel like we've come far enough in the first-person shooter. Like I felt like it worked before really well because our first-person shooter perspective kind of sucked still at that point. But so I was a little worried about it. But they're saying that the wasteland is so hard to survive in that you're going to need it, which kind of sounds cool to me.
It does.
It's very expansive, extremely expansive, almost to a fault.
Well, that's what they're saying. It's going to revolutionize the open world style of gameplay. And you know what's cool too is all of the stuff you can get. I mean, they launched Fallout Shelter a few months ago, and I don't play it anymore because I just don't have the time to deal with it. But that was a lot of fun, and I probably should pick it up again. The Pip-Boy, the companion app that's going to go along with this game, and people have been doing that for a while. The Assassin's Creed started that with Black Flag, but Bethesda, if anyone can do it right, I think Bethesda can.
I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to be. It sounds like this guy actually says it's fairly slow, especially like when you get out there into the wasteland, and it can kind of slows down a lot at some points, which worries me a tiny bit. But I'm used to playing. I've been playing ESO now for a while, and that can get pretty slow too. I think it's probably a lot of it depends on how your play style, I would imagine.
Right.
So we'll see. But I'm excited about it. And I'm trying to keep my excitement in check though, because you get too excited about something and you don't want to build it up too much in your head. So
I
just
know.
assume it's gonna suck, and then
it's
just
hard.
be happy.
It's hard not to get pumped about this though. Like the same thing's gonna happen for me too when they announce Elder Scrolls 6.
Yeah. Well, and the shots from the trailer are just they're so beautiful.
It
I mean,
really
it looks
is.
like a painting.
Mhm.
It's like a gorgeous painting
It's
of
very
the
pretty.
wasteland. All right,
I'm
done.
concerned
done.
about the
All right,
dog.
I'm gonna tune out now for the next 20 minutes while you talk about all this shit going on at BlizzCon.
So there's this thing happening. It's a convention. I'm not gonna just go on and on. I would like to, but I'm not gonna, because I know it's sort of a very specific audience that plays Blizzard games, but they are vast. So we
Yeah.
should at least
So
talk
let's
about it a
see,
little bit.
Can we
Number
just go
one.
over, because we didn't like list them out here for somebody stupid like me that doesn't know what's really going on.
Well,
so we've got
First and
the WoW
foremost,
trailer,
No,
the Warcraft trailer,
The-
right? That's
yeah,
kind of
that's-
one of the big things that
we're
happened.
we're going to talk about that, and then they also launched, or they they unveiled the cinematic trailer for the new WoW expansion coming out next summer, and there's a whole bunch of smaller announcements too that all deal with their different IPs. Biggest and most importantly, though, was the trailer for the World of Warcraft movie. That is false. Okay, it is not a World of Warcraft movie. It's not based on the MMO. It's based on the lore of the Warcraft universe. Well before Warcraft, the first events of World of Warcraft. So you're talking Warcraft 1 from like 1997, I think. Long time ago.
So what is now I watched the trailer last night, and I meant to actually watch it before the show, but I haven't watched it. So I've only seen it the one time, but tell me what the basic storyline is that we're seeing.
Little fuzzy. There's a great deal of lore, and I may have something wrong here and there. Bottom line, the orcs come from a place called Draenor. It's a whole other planet.
It's another planet.
It's a whole other planet.
Okay.
And they were brought here.
There's space travel in World of Warcraft?
No, well, they were brought here by. Yeah, there is, but they were brought here by a portal.
Okay, that makes more sense to me.
The warlock Gul'dan tricked them into drinking the blood of a demon to gain battle rage. All fantasy BS, and so that's why they all turn green. That's why in the trailer some of them are green and some of them are sort of this tannish pink color. Those are the ones of pure blood still. And so that caused their whole world to fall into chaos, and they're looking for more people to fight. And they went through the portal, and some of them landed and immediately started fighting with the humans on Azeroth, which is where this all takes place. And the story will be the dude wearing the wolf head. That's Duratan. He's a good guy. He wants to.
Wait, he's a human?
No, he's an orc. He's one of the brownish orcs. He's wearing the wolf on his head. He's gonna be a main. He's gonna be a main part. He's a protagonist. You got some. I think that's King Lane. On the Alliance side, looking there all blue and regal in his crown. And you were talking about the way everybody looks in this.
Mm-hmm.
It is heavily animated, but it's very well done. And there's parts of it that don't look polished quite yet, but look at Duratan's face, right? It's so real and alive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's kind of what it's weird the way the human face like almost pulls you out of, because it all works together well. The CGI meshes well with the rest of the CGI until you see the human face, and it's so starkly realistic in comparison. I mean, the CGI is pretty damn good. Don't get me wrong, but it kind of pulls you out of that, a little bit. So
yeah, and watching the fanboys will recognize these people almost immediately. You got Duratan and his buddy Orgrim swinging the Doomhammer. Little baby Thrall. It's all green and stuff. Grommash and what's his ass? The other one, Blackhand. Medivh, and some of the other iconic characters that you don't have any idea who I'm talking about. But
what's the Doomhammer?
The Doomhammer is the symbol of all right. So Duratan and his buddy Orgrim, both refuse to drink the blood of the demon, right? Mm-hmm. So they're not evil and crazy. And the Doomhammer is that big, heavy, freaking hammer you see on the back of the orc on the cliff when they're talking. I'm looking for it so I can show the listeners on the stream. But it's one of the most iconic weapons in the game. It's wielded now by Duratan's son Thrall, who was war chief of the Horde for a while, and it's an iconic piece of the lore.
I recognize is Thrall in Hearthstone?
Thrall is in Hearthstone, and you'll see him swinging the Doomhammer around there if you play against a shaman.
Right? Yeah, I thought I remembered that.
Yeah.
I see. So there, for some reason, Forbes is reviewing the trailer for
Yeah.
Warcraft. Which did you see this?
Yeah, and I'm calling BS on that. Anyone who watches this and just hates, I want to talk really quickly. There's a difference between
this one line.
Yeah.
Warcraft as a movie looks like Game of Thrones meets The Land Before Time.
That guy's an idiot.
Yeah, no, I just said it to fill you with rage.
Oh my god. There's no quicker way to fill a WoW nerd with rage than to say something ignorant like that. It's one if you want to watch this trailer and say that, you know what, there's some bits that look like some bad green screen, there it's not polished up, there's a weird dichotomy between the animation and the live action, I can buy that and I can listen to you talk about that. But if you just want to come on the YouTube channel and say it looks shitty and troll the people who are there watching it, you're just a hater. You're just a hater, and you should sit down and shut up. We don't want no haters. Whatever. Other stuff to come out of BlizzCon, because I will go on forever. Overwatch was confirmed to be a multi-platform launch. But you won't be able to play it with your friends, and we're pissed about this. It's going to cost you $60.
Yeah, we are pissed about this because that directly affects you and I.
Yeah.
That's why we're pissed about it, because I'm a console-only player, and Sean is the PC or console, but he doesn't have a new-gen console.
Yeah.
And I can't convince him to get one.
Dude, I can't afford it. I got that baby over there. I might be able to. I might be able to pay $60 for a game, but I can't go out and buy a new console, which is sad. But also, it filled me with hope the other day when I saw something that said Overwatch is going to be cross-platform.
Very briefly filled you with hope.
And then today, GameSpot reports it's going to be cross-platform, but you can't play with each other because apparently, then this is the excuse Blizzard says, is that it will give the PC players an unfair advantage because you'll be able to move your happy ass around the screen and turn faster and give you an unfair advantage for your console gamer. And
how about this? How about you figure it the fuck out? Quit being a bitch.
Well, that's not the thing. I don't think that's even real. I think they can't figure out how to make it work, how to get PC, Xbox, and PlayStation users all onto their servers playing against each other. I think that's where the hang up is, and so they found other things to say that says, yeah, well, it's not gonna be fair to everyone on the console. And that might be true. There might be a turning speed difference between yours and my playing on different consoles, but it's not enough to make me care at all about it. I'd much rather have.
I'm not playing. I don't play games in order to dominate or anything. Like, I'm not. First of all, I'm not good enough to dominate anything. I play Battlefield all the time, and I suck at it compared to many of the players. And I'm fine with that. I've come to expect it, and I can live with it. And I still manage to have a good time.
Yeah.
So that wouldn't, if that really is their hang up, which, I think you're making a pretty compelling argument that it's not. But if that really is a hang up, I would urge you, Blizzard folks, to shut the fuck up and just let us play the game together. Because I just want to play with my buddy. I don't care about being competitive.
I mean, I would like for you to be competitive against me so that it's fun. I don't want to just show up and beat your ass.
I mean,
time.
Let's be honest. Even if we did play together and you had a tiny bit of an advantage because you could spin all the way around the faster, I'd still kill you so much more than you'd kill me.
Yeah. Well,
we'd be on the same team, but I'd still be killing you.
Well, we also have the details of WoW's next expansion, calling it Legion. Been announced for a while, but now we have a cinematic trailer, and it's gorgeous too. Oh my god, it's so pretty.
Okay, aside from it being pretty, why should WoW players care?
Well, it's a direct continuation of the last expansion. Last expansion ended essentially beating the warlords on Draenor in this alternate reality. It's all lore stuff. It doesn't make any sense if you didn't play. But Gul'dan escapes through the portal, and in the teaser came out a few months ago, we saw Gul'dan, this old orc, walking through a cave, waking up Illidan, who's a villain character from
Also from Hearthstone.
Also
Yeah.
from pretty much
The druid.
the extent of the history of Warcraft lore. And so he's been imprisoned and he woke up, and so we're going to see what happens directly with that, with the Legion invading Azeroth, and it's going to be a big deal. Also, new expansion, Hearthstone, 45 new cards. There's 40 million players playing Hearthstone right now. Did you know that?
Yeah, I do know that, but only because you told me right before the show started.
And also some new heroes
I'm surprised.
announced for his.
I mean, I feel like Hearthstone's been out long enough, and I'm kind of surprised it's still that popular because
Oh, it's never been more popular.
really enjoyed it for a couple of weeks, but it's kind of like a phone game, and I play phone games for a couple of weeks and then I stop playing them and then play another phone game for a couple.
New heroes and battlegrounds announced for Heroes of the Storm. I won't bore you with those details. All of this is available at GameSpot.com. They do an excellent roundup of all the cool stuff, including some announcements for the next iteration of the StarCraft story after Legacy of the Void concludes, and the new patch for Diablo 3. Go on and check that out.
Is the heroes, because they were currently playing when we
yeah,
where are we at now?
Cloud9 it was the America's champion. I guess if you're listening to this, you don't really care for spoilers about esports. No, Cloud9 won. The America's champion is the world champion, beat the European team Dignitas, I think, in a 3-0 series of 5. So it was.
Take that, world!
I know.
Our video game nerds are better than all of your video game nerds.
Everyone was surprised when China and Korea got kicked out in the quarter and semis. So it's.
You would think that they would just dominate all.
Yeah, well, Korea made it to the semifinals. They were good. Okay, let's move along and finish this up. I gotta go do baby stuff. Facebook has a new AI that can paint, but Google's knows how to party. Did you know that? They know how to party.
All right, Facebook's has a new AI that knows how to paint.
Yeah, that's this is a Wired article, so found to be a little silly. Facebook's new AI can paint, but Google's knows how to party. Facebook and Google are both building enormous neural networks, artificial brains that can instantly recognize faces, cars, buildings, and other projects in digital photos. That's not all brains can do. Recognize the spoken word, translate from one language to another, target ads at you, or teach a robot to screw a cap on a bottle. Revealed Friday, Facebook is teaching its neural network to automatically create small images, things like airplanes, automobiles, animals, and about 40% of the time these images can fool us into thinking they're real. AI,
and that is the ultimate test of the AI. What is that test called? Is it the Turing test?
Is that what it is?
I think it's called the Turing test. That's the one where they have where the criteria is essentially to have a conversation with a robot and not be able to identify which is a robot and which is a human.
That's the one that they do in
But these are images that can fool us
right.
humans into believing we're looking at reality. So it's not quite the same thing. But
meanwhile, the boffins at Google have taken things to another extreme, using neural nets to turn real photos into something intriguingly unreal, teaching machines to look for familiar patterns in photos, enhance the patterns, and repeat them. Creates a feedback loop. Looks a little bit like a bird. Network will make if a cloud looks a little bit like a bird, the network will make it look more like a bird.
So that's interesting. I think we may have talked about this. Maybe not. I don't know. Either way, this article is several months old.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. This isn't the one because I had mentioned. This is
Oh my God! We're talking about an old article.
Huh?
It's not the worst thing ever to accidentally talk about an old article.
Yeah, and it's not that old. It's only like 4 months old.
That's all right.
I could have
Oh, well.
sworn there was yeah. There's new Facebook and new Google AI projects in the works. So it's unconceivable and understandable why you clicked on that one. You'd think that the newest stuff would be what pops up on when you do a search.
Oh well.
So Facebook is now tackling a problem that has evaded computer scientists for decades. This is from The Verge, by the way. They're studying Go, which is an ancient Chinese game. The 25-year-old strategy board game, according to a report from today from Wired, in the right place.
Nice.
Because let's see. So they're studying Go in order to quit jumping around on me, Paige, for Christ's sakes. I'm at the top of the page. I'm at the bottom of the page. I'm at the middle of the page. I'm at the bottom of the page. I'm at the top of the page. All right.
Do you got it?
The how to build software so that can beat humans at Go, the 2,500-year-old strategy board game. Because of Go's structure, you place a black or white stone at an intersection of lines on a 19 by 19 grid. The game has more possible permutations than chess. Despite its simple rule set, the number of possible arrangements makes it difficult for design systems that can look far enough into the future to adequately assess a good play in the way that humans can. So the project is part of Facebook's broader efforts in so-called deep learning. That subfield of artificial intelligence is founded on the idea that replicating the human brain, the way the human brain works, can unlock statistical and probabilistic capabilities far beyond the capacity of modern-day computers. Facebook wants to advance its deep learning techniques for wide-ranging uses within its social network. For example, Facebook is building a version of its website for the visually impaired that will use natural language processing to take audio input from users, i.e., if they ask what object is the person in the photo holding, and then they analyze it and respond with relevant information. Facebook's virtual assistant M, ironically the same name as Bond's boss, will also come to rely on this type of technology and analyze and learn from users' requests and respond in only the ways that a human could. And ironically, there's a Spectre ad at the bottom of the page.
Cute. Very good.
And then Google, theirs is interesting because they basically their AI project that they're working on right now will respond to emails for you and give you let's see. I'm clicking on it right now, but it's probably going to jump around. And come on. Anyway, it's going to allow you to reply to emails and things like that, and will give you options, I believe, to reply to an email based on certain words and things like that in the body of the text.
Crazy.
That will make answering on the go. I think it's basically designed so that you can answer emails while you're driving.
Right.
But they'll never market it that way.
No, I'm sure they wouldn't. But think about that. Like someone reads you the email and or like your phone reads your email to you while you're driving, asks you how you'd like to respond, favorably, unfavorably, or I don't know, or like something in the middle, and then it does it for you, sends it off. Or does it for you, reads it back to you, and sends it off.
Yeah, it's got to read it back to you. Who's going to want to send out an email where they don't actually know what the email says? Come on.
That's what Skynet wants.
Yes. Well, Skynet's going to do it without you even knowing. Google. This is from ndtv.com. Google is putting a different twist on the concept of automated reply with a new tool that aims to write artificially intelligent responses to your email. The technology is part of an update to Google's Inbox app for managing and organizing email. The feature announced Tuesday is the latest example of Google's effort to teach machines how to take over some of the tasks typically handled by humans. So far, the most conspicuous example of Google's 6-year project developing cars can be driving without a human behind the steering wheel. They're also using an AI program called RankBrain to help determine the pecking order in its influential internet search results. But this is a new one that's going to be a smart reply option that's particularly popular when people are checking emails on smartphones equipped with smaller touchscreen keyboards. New feature will be available to consumers who use the free version of Inbox, as well as more than 2 million businesses who pay for Google's suite of applications designed for work. That's cool.
Nice. Yeah, that's cool. I'm just not nearly as excited about it as I am about this next thing.
Yes, this next thing is the whole reason why I want VR to exist.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe it. Fighting zombies with zero latency.
Whoa.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
Impressive.
Inconceivable.
Dude, we add new segments and I forget all about them. The bumpers and things. It's like this should just be robots, but it's robots that we're impressed by.
Impressive robots.
Fighting zombies with zero latency and virtual reality gaming at its best. And you know what? I agree. If you've ever wondered how you'd act in a real-life zombie apocalypse, zero latency will let you, happily or unhappily, find out. Melbourne-based company has developed a system they're calling Multiplayer Free Roam. It's virtual reality gaming. The author of this tried it one weekend at PAX in Australia. Did you know there's a PAX in Australia?
I did not.
And the results were just what you'd want them to be. Shaky arms, an accelerated heart rate, and adrenaline levels that don't go down for hours. Okay, so you put on the hat and you carry the gun and you got the little backpack and you're actually fighting zombies in virtual reality in a free roaming environment.
They put you in a warehouse kind of situation, it looks like, and it looks like you can do it with other people, and I'm assuming that the visual input from around you is integrated with the VR simulated zombies and whatnot, right? So if there's a truck over here or something there's something physical that's in your way, you actually are aware of its presence because you're wearing a VR headset, an Oculus Rift, and you don't want to. You probably have to. I'm sure you have to sign a release form to play this game at all in the first place.
Well, you got to do that to go play laser tag, right?
Yeah. To keep you spatially aware during the game, red crosses appear in your headset when you near a wall, and circles if you come too close to other players. Oh, okay. Vandal Keeler, who's been working on the project for a few years, also emphasized that you cannot run during the game for your own safety, despite a strong urge to do so.
That's what you want, though. A strong urge to run away from zombies.
Walking through the setup, or kitted out with an Oculus Rift virtual reality headset, headphones, and a mic to communicate, a backpack containing Alienware alpha computer, and a weighty gun with sensors that the team have built from scratch. The weapons, which are can change between assault, shotgun, or sniper mode with a few simple buttons. Yeah, so
that's cool. So
it's a cool idea. Yeah. Zombies come and attack you. Obviously, it's the first iteration of this game. See, a court the size of a basketball court with 125 cameras and computers above tracking every movement thanks to small balls of light. And this is kind of silly. It looks like a trailer hitch on top of your head.
It's a glowy trailer hitch.
Yeah, a glowy trailer hitch. So there'll be 30 minutes of the game. Let's see. Fighting off zombies in an abandoned building with the goal of reaching a spaceship that would allow us to escape. Finding green circles that would help us. Hold on one second.
Yeah. So zero latency latency as a company, and the thing it is incredibly compelling, but you can't imagine experiencing it in a home setting. That'd be my thought as well. Because having space to roam is far too important. You can't just sit on your couch and play a zombie game that requires you to run around your house. The company recognizes this. In the long term, their aim is to sell technology to people who want to operate venues similar to that in laser tag or shopping centers, theme parks. Could you imagine? Are you back?
Yeah.
Could you imagine, instead of going paintballing with your friends, you go zombie killing? I mean, a virtual reality environment that it'd be an augmented reality environment that generates a zombie attack in the woods by your house, or the halls of a local something or other that let you rent it out, like a Grange Hall or something, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this isn't This isn't quite there yet,
No,
obviously.
well, this is the
but
beginning.
it's-
This is
but
not the end of
The
it.
concept is perfect.
Yeah. It's 88 bucks or 63 US dollars a session. It's booked through February at this particular
Surprise.
venue.
But yeah, no, I mean, I feel like kind of what you're talking about when the system can take your surrounding and figure it all out for you. I mean, that's what's going to be really cool, and I assume that's where this ultimately will go.
Yeah.
And
When
you
this
can play
becomes,
with, like you said, play with your friends.
yeah, when this becomes an end consumer item,
right,
that's
where you
what
don't
I'm
need
all
to
in.
where you don't need to go to a specific place in
Yeah.
order to.
'Cause laser tag was fun, but I never wanted to freaking go there. Right?
Yeah.
If I could just go out back my dad's house and play laser tag or zombie killing with my buddies, right? That's what I want. Kill zombies with my friends outside my own home.
Right.
My God.
Even if they are not the kind of, even if they're fast zombies.
Even if they're fast
don't
zombies,
like.
slow zombies, I don't, and I want it to be augmented reality too, so that I can run safely,
Right, exactly.
or at least
I mean,
a brisk walk.
yeah, at least a brisk walk. Yeah, the idea of not being able to run from zombies kind of would almost feel like it would be defeating.
Yeah.
There should be different like levels of difficulty where your zombie you can fight slow shuffling zombies, you can fight fast zombies. There should be mutated zombies that like leap across buildings and stuff.
A zombie difficulty setting.
Yeah, like
slow,
Left 4
medium,
Dead,
fast,
where
or stupid.
the tank.
Well, hey, if you're still listening, what is the matter with you? But if you liked it, you should let us know.
Yeah,
Head
if you
on
made
over
it this
to-
far, you must have enjoyed yourself.
Head on over to iTunes, YouTube, however you consume us. Let us know what you liked. Tell us something about the show, or give us a rating on iTunes. We do appreciate a 5-star rating. We'll mention you on the show. We'll give you a shout out. Do check out the new artwork on our Facebook page. Actually, it's all over Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. The great Chris Green, utility nerd Chris, we call him. He always doing cool stuff for him. That's me, shepherdized. I got N7'd.
And who cares? Because that's me, Han Solo. I'm a Han Solo / Malcolm Reynolds.
That
hybrid.
was the coolest thing I ever saw, though. When I did all illustrated and badass in my N7 gear with my Carnifex pistol that's even got a little lens flare on it. J.J. Abrams would be super proud. Thanks to Libsyn for the bandwidth, all members of the network for their contributions. That was Bill and me, and Hawk Owl sent us something this week. Corey wasn't here this week. We'll yell at him for having to work or something.
Yeah, how dare he have to
I
do
know.
a job?
Thanks for coming and hanging out with us. Yeah, send your feedback, suggestions, northwestnerdnetwork@gmail.com. Find us on Twitter, NW Nerd Network, or on Facebook. Facebook is better. That's where we do stuff. Facebook.com/NW Nerd Network. New show soon.
Yeah, I
Let
can't
you know.
actually. I was gonna tell you, I can't do Friday this week.
Oh my God.
Again, apparently. So maybe we'll have to do it a little earlier on Thursday or something like that.
Yeah, well, we'll figure it out. I believe I've got Katie has Thursday off next week. I think that might be okay.
Woo.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, hey, bud, it's been real. Thanks everyone for hanging out.
Yeah.
Talk to you soon. Love you.
You too, buddy.
Alright. Stitching the patches again. Glue hamstring. Cut it down to all the side. Folded line going up. Alright. Stitching the patches again and 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 again.
You are not prepared!
We're good.
Do you see my question?
Huh? No, I did not. I popped it up and then I realized it was still on the stream. Oh, he's not.
Oh.
No, he's not. He's not on Facebook anymore. I'm not exactly sure why. I should probably stop the recording. I'm not exactly sure why he's not on Facebook anymore. I think he just, in a moment of disillusionment, decided that he was done with that particular manner of social media.
I was worried it was because I was worried he like blocked me or something because of my comments about Kim Davis or something.
No, I don't think so. I don't
Because
think
I went
so
to,
at
I
all.
was like, I was gonna go find him and be like, "Holy crap, that's so awesome!" And then I couldn't find him at all.
No, he didn't block you. I don't think he holds any particular love for Kim Davis either.
Well, I mean, we had that one conversation that one time about gay marriage,
Well,
and-
sure, but I mean,
and I got the impression he was fairly religious oriented.
well, sure,
Yeah.
but it has nothing to do with doing your job. You can believe whatever you want to believe and fully support it, but you shouldn't have
theoretically, but-
you shouldn't have a job that makes you do something that's against your beliefs, which is the real point.
I agree, absolutely. But people who have sit on that side of the fence often don't see it that way. Is all I'm saying.
It's a tough subject. Ooh, I just made you huge.
I
didn't
am
mean to
huge.
make you huge. Your face was huge.
Yeah. So I was just curious about that. I was trying to find him the other night, and I was just like, "Holy shit!" Did he like?
No, I'm pretty sure.
completely block me?
I'm pretty sure you did not offend his sensibilities or his faiths with your gross generalizations and spiteful comments.
Well, good, I suppose. Although I kind of want to offend people with my gross generalization and spiteful comments, but not Chris.
Well, hey, anyone who's still in the chat room, I know there's a couple of you showed up there. Metal Skull Live. Haven't seen you around here before, or Sitovingen. I think your swearing offended that person. Wow, language. I'm not sure what they mean. They asked me if I take things for granted. I try not to.
Wait, what about my language? What did I fucking say?
Something like that. I think it was the part where we were bitching about Blizzard.
This might not be the podcast for you.
It might not be.
Because Sean has been trying to get me to stop cursing since we started doing this show.
I've just given up.
Just doesn't happen. Sorry.
Thanks everyone for hanging out. I gotta get moving.
Okay.
Stuff going on, babies and whatnots. Show will be up on iTunes a while from now.
At some point.
Probably in a couple hours, and on YouTube shortly thereafter. Peace.
Bye, buddy.